Yes, and Mr. Rush, I agree with you. This industry has tremendous opportunity for folks who are minorities. One of the reasons I represent firms in which there's female and minority participation, and one of the reasons our side is so interested in Keystone XL is that those 20,000 direct jobs created will be just among the working class that most are in need of jobs right now. So I agree with you, Mr. Moeller. It's a great opportunity for many people. I just wish that the President would sign on to creating those jobs. I was at a bipartisan dinner last night, actually, put on by one of my colleagues. The point was made that EPA is currently driving our energy policy. I'm struck that you mentioned the potential for shortages in New England and the mothballing, I gather, of many coal-fired plants. This must be billions of dollars worth of investments being replaced by other billions of investments, all paid by families struggling to meet their current bills. So I guess my point being, is that a fair assessment that EPA's environmental regulation is now driving our electrical market?
It's certainly it's a factor, yes.
Now, the factor could be 1% or it could be 90%. But I gather that these mothballed coal plants, it's 90% EPA. Is that a fair statement?
I don't know if I'd pick a number, but
give me a ballpark. I'm not going to hold you to it. I mean, is it 1 or is it 100, or is it some? Where would you make it closer to? With 100 being highest.
Well, if it depends on the plant, but in some plants it's 100%. I mean, they are being shut down clearly because of air regulations. In other cases, you'd probably say 50% because they're being retrofitted. They'll still burn coal, but they're of the right vintage where that investment makes sense.
Now, I'm from a natural gas state. I'm all about natural gas. On the other hand, I'm all about having a diversified fuel source. It really does seem as if we're putting a heck of a lot of our eggs in the natural gas basket for no other reason than EPA is driving this. Is that correct?
That's a major factor. Prices and the access is also part of it, but that's where we're concerned from a reliability perspective. If you're dependent on a pipeline and just-in-time fuel supply, it's a lot different than a 60-day pile of coal.
Yeah, it seems that way. And if you're dependent on one plant and the other has been, with the diversified fuel, has been mothballed, then your whole supply chain is, if you will, just in time. Fair statement?
Yeah, if you have more pipeline access, that helps diversify your options, but that's one of the problems. Some plants are dependent on one pipe.
Now, I'm struck, Ms. LaFleur, the good Louisiana name, I don't know if you are, but could be. You speak specifically of New England and the problems that they have. Will the development of the Marcellus shale bring some relief there? Obviously, the supply is closer. Will further development of that benefit?
Well, my dad was French Canadian, but there's a lot of LaFleurs in Louisiana. The fact that gas is being extracted much closer to the Northeast in the Marcellus means pipelines have a shorter way to go, but the issues that makes the issues we're working on somewhat more limited, but we're trying to get pipeline that last couple hundred miles to the plant, because most of the suppliers bring gas to the major junction points, and then you need to build laterals to specific plants. But definitely the supply from the Marcellus helps, yes.
Okay, and I also understand that there's a market issue in terms of how the New England plants buy their gas. You allude to that. I don't understand it well enough. Could you elaborate?
Well, in general terms, the natural gas and electric markets attract capital differently. Pipelines build based on 10 or 15-year commitments, and electricity, because it's a real-time product, is priced in a 3-year forward market or in the day-ahead market. So the generators might not have enough certainty of their long-term future to make a 15-year commitment, which means we're going to have to get creative about how we structure these things and get pipelines built.
So ideally, you would allow now, but a plant in the south, for example, which does not have this problem, is it because we already have the pipeline infrastructure, or because they are able to enter into these 15-year commitments?
A little bit of both. In some of the vertically integrated states, the State regulators have decided that customers should back up the long-term gas contracts. They also have considerably less gas dependency in general, so they don't have the, if you made every generator in New England buy a firm contract, pretty soon you'd have way too many. You'd be having customers pay for way too many pipelines. So it's a combination of factors.
Okay, well, I'm out of time. I yield back. Thank you both.